In other news, a secret Drug Enforcement Administration unit is funneling information from intelligence intercepts, wiretaps, informants, and a massive database of telephone records to authorities across the nation. Now, this data is used to help them launch criminal investigations of American citizens. Now, although these cases rarely involve national security issues, documents reviewed by Reuters show that law enforcement agents have been directed to conceal how these investigations truly begin. And they are told to conceal this information not only from defense lawyers, but also from prosecutors and judges. Now, these documents show that federal agents are trained to, quote, recreate the investigative path in order to effectively cover up where the information came from. This is a practice that some experts say violates a defendant's constitutional right to a fair trial. And without knowing exactly how an investigation began, defense lawyers are working with their hands tied behind their backs. It's close to impossible for the defendant to know what evidence to revisit and which potential sources for review. Now, all of which could reveal mistakes, biased witnesses, or entrapment on the part of the prosecution. Now, this DEA program has been dubbed the Special Operations Division, or SOD, and it's comprised of over 24 partnership agencies, including the FBI, CIA, NSA, Internal Revenue Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. Now, joining me now in studio to discuss this secretive agency is Matthew Feeney, Assistant Editor at Reason 24/7. Matthew, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, first off, let's say, how long has this practice been going on?
Well, I mean, the Special Operations Division that is mentioned was actually established to fight drug cartels in the 90s, I believe, in Latin America. But since then, it's grown from a couple dozen employees and administrations to actually now covering hundreds.
Wow. That's a lot, and yes, something that started well over a decade ago to go on for this long. Now, does this program, point blank, infringe on someone's Fourth Amendment rights?
From the information I've seen, I think it does. I think any constitutional system that is supposed to support civil liberties should allow citizens, when they're charged for a crime, to actually view the evidence presented against them and know how it was acquired. But this doesn't allow for that at all. And as you reported, actually, agents from the DEA are encouraged to, in effect, just sort of make up or to recreate the evidence against people being charged with crimes, and that should worry people.
Yeah, incredible findings. Now, the New York Times this weekend, they came out with a report that other agencies like the DEA, they've been very interested in getting NSA data, and this is for their own investigations, but the NSA has been very reluctant and has given limited data or lived up to those requests. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I don't really care whether it's a lot of the information that they've been asking for, or if it's any of the information they've been asking for, especially considering the Edward Snowden revelations. A lot of Americans have probably been assuming, it seems wrongly, that the National Security Agency is actually not just concerned with national security, and is actually giving information to the Drug Enforcement Administration for domestic investigations. And you would hope, especially organizations like the CIA and NSA, would be primarily concerned with international threats to national security, but it doesn't seem to be that way at all.
So would you say that maybe depending upon which government arm is asking for it, the NSA has been more generous than we thought originally with handing out information? I
mean, it certainly seems, I would agree, especially considering that it seems constitutional rights could have been violated. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't think that the DEA should really be around at all, but if we're going to have it, if there's going to be this war on drugs, then let's try and keep to the Constitution as much as we can.
There you have it. Now, much of the SOD's work it's classified, and an official, when officials have asked that its precise location be identified, they won't give it up. It's somewhere in Virginia, but they don't want to say where exactly it is. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, maybe I'm in a minority on this, but I just think the U.S. government classifies far too much information, and I think this was come to light last week during the Bradley Manning trial and Edward Snowden, and I just think we need to stop classifying as much information as it currently is. I mean, the location of somewhere, I'm really not sure why this is. People know where the NSA is, people know where the CIA headquarters are, and people know where the president vacations. I really don't understand this overclassification at all.
Now, interesting. Now, the DEA officials who have spoke on behalf of the agency, but only on condition of anonymity.
Right.
They don't want their names out there.
Surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Now, they said the process is kept secret to, quote, protect sources and investigative methods. What are your thoughts on protecting sources and investigative methods, like they said?
Well, I think that investigative methods and sources should be kept secret, but you have to, they can't blame us for being suspicious given the amount of secrecy surrounding this. I have no doubt that a lot of these investigations are very sensitive and that people's lives could be at risk if some stuff isn't kept closely under wraps, but I still think it's worth making sure that the process by which this stuff is classified or kept secret is legitimate and, it works within the framework of our Constitution.
Now, do you think the DEA is the only government agency that is kind of using NSA data, or there's other agencies out there that are also using NSA data? It kind of goes back to what we were speaking about before.
Sure. I wouldn't be surprised. No.
You wouldn't be surprised? No, probably more out there.
Right.
Now, the NSA is investigating national security threats, while the DEA, they're largely going after run-of-the-mill drug criminals and things of that nature. Is there a difference in the way we should evaluate who gets top secret information?
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely really necessary. And I don't really doubt that the occasional DEA investigation requires access to top secret information. I mean, it seems like it must be incredibly rare, but it's not outside the realms of possibility. But if that is the case, I do think this Reuters report shows that there just needs to be far more transparency about how it happens.
And do you have any thoughts on how that could happen?
Well, look, I mean, there's the amounts of talk there's been recently about classified information and government secrecy shows that, I mean, frankly, a lot of it just seems like beyond help at this point. But, I think there should be some sort of investigation into this. But how long that would take or if it would even happen, I don't know.
Matthew Feeney, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your insight.
Well,
that was Matthew Feeney, assistant editor at Reason 24/7.